Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And with all this money, I'm going to Disney World!
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Ha! Money. But we're not here to talk about money, Rem.
It's true.
We're here to talk about anime. And last week, Rem, you had to do a lot of work. You had to actually use your brain quite a bit.
Yep. I had to properly analyze and dissect a quite nuanced show.
Which doesn't always happen, and I'm sure you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Why the hesitation, Rem? Are you scared that I'm, like...
This could be leading any number of ways. It could be leading into, like, hey, here's a well-deserved break. Or it could be some fucky twist. And so I'm just... You know,
are you still on guard from the stepdaughter X show? Are you still on guard because of that?
It reminded me that I always need to be on guard. I always need to be ready. I always need to be prepared.
You know, it's fair enough. Like Rem, I don't talk. We don't talk too much about past episodes regularly in the shows, or we try not to at least. But I was still very proud of the boozle in that episode. Like it was just so perfectly laid out, in my opinion. And it felt really good. Do you honestly think I could whip out a bamboozle of that quality or better in such a short period of time?
Not if I am sufficiently suspicious.
Like you are right now.
Yes, exactly. If I am sufficiently suspicious, then nothing can go wrong. But also, I can't fully believe that, because if I fully believed that, I would no longer be sufficiently suspicious, you see. So it's the principle that I live my life by, but I can never truly believe.
Well, Rem, I'll be real with you. You don't need to be suspicious this time, Rem.
I am going to be until you tell me what the fuck is going on.
Because, Rem, I do think that you needed a bit of a break. Because last week you wanted a easy, like, hey, I got something right, so I deserve a treat type of show. And instead I presented you with a complex, vague choice, which could have led you down the path of despair, considering you didn't fully understand the ramifications of what we would be covering.
It's like being like, man, I had a hectic day at work. I just need to relax. And you're like, hey, let's go out to eat to treat you. And it's like, that's nice. That is a nice gesture. But I do really just need to shut the fuck down.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't let you do that. And for that, I am kind of sorry, but also... it was very entertaining watching you freak out. So with that in mind, I am actually going to try and give you what most people have said is quite a treat.
Okay.
And it's been mentioned on the show before. You've had multiple opportunities to watch it, but have essentially turned it down several times, for better or for worse, as it were. So I figured, enough people have asked for it, and we're like, no, but I wanted Rem to watch this one. I want to see if he thinks that it's as funny as I do.
Okay.
So instead, Rem, we're actually going to watch a comedy anime known simply as Asobi Asobase.
Yeah.
Or it could also be Asobi Asobase. I cannot remember the exact pronunciation of the second word. In fact, it probably is that second pronunciation. Now that I'm thinking about it. Or it could go either way. Hey, I'm still learning. I'm not exactly fluent, y'all.
God damn it. All right, so what's the deal with it? What's going on?
Man. So, Rem, it is you remember Nichijou?
Yep.
Nichijou, very fun little slice of life comedy with some fantastical elements.
Yeah.
All right. Take Nichijou.
Cap.
Subtract some of the fantastical elements.
Cap.
Make it a bit more... ooh, let's see how to phrase this. Make it a little bit raunchier, and a little bit more mean-spirited at times.
Ah.
And that is what we're working with, because simply put, Asobi Asobase. I'm going to call it that until someone corrects me or I look it up again and am proved wrong. It's also, the subtitle for it is Workshop of Fun.
Okay.
And the basic premise is there are these three girls in high school, and and one of them is a quote unquote foreign transfer student, blonde hair, blue eyes, all that jazz. And she comes into the classroom pretending to be that foreign transfer student, for like the air of intrigue and mystique. One of the girls, however, in this group is failing English.
Okay.
So, of course, the first thing you would want to do if you're failing English is get tutoring from a native speaker.
Of course.
So, of course, this girl and her friend go forward and talk to this girl, Olivia, and try to get her to teach them some English. Here's the problem, Rem. She don't speak fucking English. In fact, she's lived in Japan her whole life.
Oh, okay.
And thus begins the awkward and mean-spirited friendship between these three girls and their comedy antics throughout their daily lives and the essentially time-wasting club they start.
Okay, all right. We've had some decent chill time-wasting shows, decent chill club shows, so hell yeah, it could work. This might be I'm always nervous, but this could work if you're telling the truth.
I am being completely honest with you, Rem. I wanted something nice and simple to counteract the truly complex nature of the show we covered last week, because it was a thinker. It made you think. You had to analyze so many tiny aspects of a show that I figured something nice and simple as three girls who are friends but also kind of horrible people doing things together and making goofs with a good amount of slapstick and such for the slapstick gross out humor. It's comedy. It's comedy, Rem. And it'll be up to you to decide whether or not you think this is good, and all the people who want you to look at this and laugh and be happy to either prove them right or prove them wrong.
Okay,
so,
all right, sure.
So without further ado, Rem, I think that's all we need to cover. Let's go watch some Asobi Asobase, or Asobase, or
Fucking
Workshop
hell.
of Fun. We're going to call it Workshop of Fun. Am I a little bitch?
Hey, wait a minute. That's not piss at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after watching 3 whole episodes of Asobi Asobase, which is the correct pronunciation after looking at the hiragana. Sean, you dumb piece of shit. So, Remington, what are your thoughts on it? Is it as funny as people claim, or is this just more weird anime stuff that you don't understand?
Well, I think that to discuss this show, we need to first discuss its major theme, and we can summarize that very quickly. And what the fuck? So there we go. That's a quick little summary that captures the essence, I think, of this show.
Fascinating.
It's
Sounds complex and deep, Rem. Please tell me more.
So here's what I came in expecting, and I will add that the opening strongly supports an interpretation like this.
Oh yeah, no, the opening is purposely deceptive.
I was expecting very much sort of a Yoru camp, cute girls doing cute things, a little bit wholesome, little bit silly.
Man.
This show is fucking unhinged. It's fucking mental, dude. Holy shit. Oh my god.
In a good way, in a bad way? Come on, Rem, I need some details.
In quite a good way. In a very impressive and favorable way. The energy of this show was everywhere. It was nonstop, and it was very enjoyable. But my god, it is a fever dream. And so I'm gonna describe what's happens in the show. But I don't. It's one of those shows where the summary and the synopsis does not capture properly the essence, because the essence of this show is in all of the little details, right?
Oh yeah, no, when I was describing this show to you, Rem, I was like, this is gonna be tricky, actually, because, I can tell you basically how they meet, and I can tell you, the basic premise, but it's not gonna give you a true impression of what this show is actually like.
Yeah, because the details, it's one of those shows where, what happens only half matters, and is maybe a third of why the show is enjoyable. Because it's everything else, like the bonkers facial expressions, the surprising continuity of referencing the Boy School Wars TCG. There's so many wild touches. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what happens, but also Jesus fucking Christ.
Right.
So we also, the one sin of this show is it took me 3 episodes to learn 2 of the 3 main characters' names. They say Olivia, who is the one with American heritage, they say her name a few times.
Yep. And they never say her last name, by the way.
Yeah. And then they say Hanukkah a couple times, especially in episode 2. I think maybe once in episode 1. And then Kasumi, they only really started saying in episode 3. It took me a hot minute to write down these names. So we start out, and Kasumi, she's a bit of an introverted, nerdy type girl, right? And there's a new classmate, Olivia, who is American, and Olivia is playing a game with Hanako, and Hanako, she just wants to be popular, right? That is her MO. She wants to be popular, god damn it. And so Hanako and Olivia, they're playing a game where you play rock, paper, scissors, and then if you lose, you look a certain way, the other person points a certain way. If you look, there's variations of it. Sometimes it's you have to make sure to look the opposite way. That's usually what it is. If you don't, then you get smacked. And Olivia is playing dumb about the rules so she can smack the ever-loving shit out of Hanako. Oh my god, it's a fucking whopper of a hit. And then they notice Kasumi, and they go up to her, and Olivia's like, hey, do you want to play? And Kazumi's like, not really. And Hanako's like, please, dear God, play so I don't get smacked in the face more. So they play, and Kasumi beats Olivia, and then just fucking murks her, just beats the shit out of her, basically. And demands that Olivia teaches her English, because while Kasumi may be nerdy, she's terrible at her English course. So that's the opening, right? Then we move on, and they play different games. They eventually form a club all about becoming pastimers, just doing different pastimes. But Kasumi really just wants the club as a front to learn English. Olivia wants it to pass the time, and Hanako wants it to become popular. So all of them have different goals, none that are ever that successful, broadly speaking. Now we can basically just go to sort of a highlight reel. Towards the end of this episode, they decide one way to pass the time is by bringing a little kiddie pool into the club room and trying to go swim in the kiddie pool. That doesn't really work. They have some arguments about how Kasumi has boobs, and Hanako wants to die because she'll never have boobs. And oddly, this is one of the better girls talking about boobs conversation in this because of how over the top and absurd it is. Hanako is the most unhinged out of the 3 easily. Which
is saying a lot, considering one of the first things Kasumi does is the knife between the fingers game.
All of them, Kasumi, she's introverted nerd, but can also be just terrifying and intimidating, dark and twisted. Olivia has some low-key sociopathic tendencies. Hanako is
full psychopath.
Oh yeah, she fucking loses it, dude. So they're messing around. Eventually they start splashing around. And a teacher notices that water is coming from the room, and he's like, oh, what's going on? I'm gonna come in. They don't want to be seen in their swimsuits, so they're like, oh, don't come in. And Hanako's like, oh no, that's not water, that's Olivia's piss. And the teacher's like, oh my god, hey, wait a minute. And so he tastes the water and he's like, that's not piss at all. And he's like, I'm genuinely hurt that you would lie to me that this isn't piss. And the girl's like, oh, we're so sorry, we've learned our lesson. And then he's like, all right, as long as we all know that lying is wrong. And then he leaves and they're all like, what the fuck? And that's how the episode ends. And then we go to the EP, which has it's hardcore metal and like some Technicolor grunge for the visuals. And then we end every episode, a post-credit scene, talking about a given Japanese pastime via puppetry. And that's the show. That's the show, y'all.
Yeah.
Whoo-wee. Just trying to take it all in, really. In the next episode, we see the Boy School Wars trading card game. Makeup is banned and confiscated, which Hanako strongly supports because she's very jealous of all the popular kids, and a part of that is like the popular girls wearing makeup, and she's like puritanical. She's like, how fucking dare they? It's false advertising is what it is. They're harlots, they're whores. Hanako, once again, unhinged. And so when Hanako learns that Olivia has makeup, Hanako also loses her mind until Olivia's like, oh no, you don't understand. It's just so that I can prepare to be an adult later. It's like learning. And Hanako's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's totally legitimate, 100%. And that becomes quickly chaotic. Then later on, Hanako decides she quit the tennis club earlier because she thought it would make her popular, but it didn't. So now she wants to face off against the tennis team and beat them. And so she gets some Boy School Wars paddles that, you know the horny mouse pads, right?
Yes.
Imagine you took one of those horny mouse pads and you just stuck it to a paddle, right? And that's what they're using to play tennis. Not the tennis club. I'm talking about the Pastimers Club, of course. That's what they are using for some reason. I don't really understand why, but it's chaos.
Because it's funny, Remington. That's the main reason.
Yeah, turns out that Pastimers are pretty terrible at tennis. But then Hanako's like, okay, I'm going to really try. I'm going to start kicking ass. But then the girls in the tennis club are like, oh, you're actually going to try? No, we don't want to like sweat. We're going to a party later, so you win. And that's how we end the conflict. Episode 3, we have we open with a bit about sniffing each other's armpits and Olivia's smelly. You may wonder what the fuck I'm talking about. I can't really clarify it beyond that. Like, it's just that's what it is. Kasumi gets betrayed and has to smell armpits and decides to buy drinks instead. It's chaos. Then we get a teacher who is very worried about dying alone and wants to join the club because she thinks that they might help her find a match. And then they just steal the teacher's Twitter and are ready to abuse that in the future. Later on, the class president, they show up and are like, hey, Pastimers Club, you gotta leave. You aren't allowed to be, you didn't get accepted and confirmed to have this classroom. And now the Shogi Club, they have gotten confirmed. They did the registration and everything. And so then the Shogi president is like, I'll tell you what, we'll play a pastime. And if you guys win, you get the room. And if we win, we get the room. And so they do shoe launching. Whoever can launch their shoe the furthest. So we start with Hanako. Hanako launches it endlessly into the sky, but unfortunately, it only gets like half a meter ahead of her. Got a lot of air, but not a lot of distance. So she loses that round. Then Kasumi, by fortune, wins the next one. And then Olivia sort of cheats because she uses a swing to launch a shoe out quite far. But then the Shogi president is like, oh, is that how we're going to play it? And so the Shogi president bikes down a hill, launches herself from the bike to kick the shoe a whole 1 kilometer and and definitely wins. And thus they get the classroom. But the Shogi president also severely injures herself. Compound fractures throughout her entire body. So they end up, the Shogi Club meets at her house after her hospital visit instead. So the Pastimers still get the classroom. There you go. Yeah, so this show's fucking wild. It is insane. And even describing like some of the details, once again, this isn't capturing the essence, because all of the facial expressions, the different art styles, just the tone, the erratic pacing, and I mean that oddly in a very favorable way, it's nonstop stimulus. We've had a couple shows in this line before. This is a really good continuation of that. I enjoyed my time with it. I don't think I'd be able to like binge the entire thing without frying my brain a little bit, but for three episodes is a good manageable chunk, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you were like, oh, want to do a marathon? I'd be like, I don't know if I have like the mental energy prep for that.
There's a reason I only gave you 3 episodes, my guy.
Yes. So it's very good, but don't binge it for your own sake. And they have such like amazing little details all throughout. Like one of the first moments that genuinely got me was as Olivia and Hanako are hanging out, they're having lunch together, right? And the scene is just about Kasumi showing up to ask Olivia for English lessons. But early on, Olivia, she has like a ham sandwich and Hanako's like, hey, can I have the ham? And Olivia's like, no, you obviously not. It's a ham sandwich. You can't just have the ham for my ham sandwich. But then as Kasumi is asking about English, in the background, you just see Hanako stealing the ham from the sandwich. And it's just so dumb and so silly. It made me laugh out loud. It was a great moment. So many little details like that genuinely got me. It's a solid show. It's a very good show. A very weird show, but a very good show.
See, I told you I was going to give you a treat this time around, Rem. Why would you ever doubt me?
Hey man, I can accurately say that some details were left out.
Yes. But didn't that make the show all the more enjoyable?
Fortunately,
once you saw
this time, yes.
Yeah. Also, because if I had explained those details, you would have thought I was a fucking psychopath.
It's true. It's very accurate.
Like, if I told you that a teacher tastes water to find out if it's piss, you probably wouldn't have watched the show.
Yeah, probably not.
No, like, that would have put you off entirely. You would have been like, you know what? Actually, I'm good. Let's just end the podcast here. That would have been your full impression, I think.
And all of them are great characters. I have to say, I think Hanako probably the best one. Because
she's the most unhinged.
Holy shit. Like, if you think, if you want something absurd and outrageous, this is a great recommendation. Go and watch this show. But if you prefer more of a rigid structure, this is not for you at all in any way.
Yeah, I think I was pretty accurate in my description of Nichijou, but raunchier.
Yeah, it makes sense. Or like oddly, one of the closest comparisons is, what the fuck was it? The other Fever Dream show. It had 2 characters, and two schoolgirls, and was fucking ballistic. One of them was taller, one of them was shorter.
Pop Team Epic.
Fucking Pop Team Epic. It has Pop Team Epic vibes. So that's the closest parallel, I think. It's Nichijou and Pop Team Epic. It's all of that blended in. It's a wild experience.
Well, fantastic. Then I suppose there's not much else to say other than, hey, do you have any guesses on the mouse score?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, isn't it?
I've been doing so good. Holy shit. I don't think it's for everybody. I think that's clear.
I mean, the fact that there's a scene where a guy tastes water to see if it's piss, like that descriptor alone is going to be like, okay, you say it's funny.
Like, I don't think...
But that's a wild situation.
I do not believe the show was manufactured for the masses, you know? I think that's pretty safe to say.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think it could have, like, a cult following pretty well. And I don't know how to balance these. It's such a weird one to rate.
Yep. It came out in 2018, which is widely regarded as one of the best years of anime in recent times.
I don't think it'll...
Especially since that's when we started our podcast.
Hey, I don't think it'll be an 8, but I think I'm leaning towards higher 7s, maybe a 7 point... Oh, but that might be too high, because I don't... where the fuck would people put this shit, man?
Well, where would you put it, Rem, personally?
I would probably put it like 7.5-ish. A really solid, maybe just 7. Between 7 and 7.5, which is a really solid rating.
Probably a 7.3 then, if we're gonna split the difference.
Yeah, I think the weebs would rate it somewhat higher than me, but I'm gonna say 7 point. God, because I have like two conflicting intuitions here, so I'm gonna slightly split the difference, and hopefully that calibrates it right, and hopefully I shouldn't have gone to one of the extremes. I'm gonna say 7.61.
Okay. Well, Rem, quite a few people have seen this show, but nowhere near as much as you might expect. With only 196,000 ratings, Asobi Asobase is sitting nice and pretty at 8.19.
Holy shit!
People fucking love this show.
All right, fair enough. I that it has broader appeal than I anticipated.
Yeah, like one of the reviews I saw for this was very amusing, simply put, because I believe the exact wording they used was, well, I can tell you the exact wording, 1 second, was, it's gonna punch you in the dick. Which is a great way to start the title of a review. And I gotta say, this anime had me laughing out loud a shit ton of times.
Out of curiosity, what was the rating of Pop Team Epic?
Pop Team Epic?
Because Pop Team Epic, I would say, is more niche because there's at least a bit more structure in
Pop Team Epic is only at 7.28.
See, that's what's very interesting. Because I would expect Pop Team Epic to be lower, right? Because it is more niche. But I don't think it's that much more niche.
The biggest difference is art style, I think.
I guess.
Art style and, like, Pop Team Epic is more chaotic.
Yes. But
that's the biggest difference.
I would have expected the difference to only be like 0.3 or 0.4. Mm-hmm. But no, the difference apparently is more dramatic.
Yeah, no, like, there are very few people who have a negative opinion about this show. Like, the most negative opinions are, like, feels like it was trying too hard, which I don't think that's accurate.
I mean, I guess it
personally.
depends on what you mean. Like,
yeah, like that just seems like a very vague criticism to me.
Yeah, I would need some follow up on that to even begin to interpret it.
Yeah, and some people say the voice acting is bad, which I disagree.
Oh no, like one of my favorite things, like at times Hanako will have this unhinged, like shrieking voice that I suppose you could say that it sounds less like professionally done, right? Because it's like somewhat grating and like off, and it's like, but I just view that as authentic and adding to the humor.
Oh god. This one rating says, this is bad because there's no plot whatsoever, no character development, and no background. It's like, what? What? Are you aware of the show you're watching?
I just think they want a different show, which is fine. Once again, like, hey, if from our description of this show, you should know whether or not it's for you. If you think you'd be 1000%. Into it, you almost certainly will be. If you hear all of this and you're like, what the fuck? Then you're just like, fuck that shit. Yeah, you probably not for you. It's probably not going to change your mind.
But if you think, hey, that might be a good time, this might be for you. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. So I guess the final question I have to ask you, Rem, is there any chance you'd like to watch some more Asobi Asobase with me?
Oh yeah, I would definitely be willing.
Just not all at once.
Correct.
There are only 13 episodes, so 2 or 3 sittings should be enough.
Yeah, there you go.
So with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Rem actually enjoying himself in a comedy anime for once, then you can head on over to wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to watching myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally playing video games exceedingly badly. And if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to have your name read aloud live on the podcast. So, Ram, who are we thinking this week?
Good question, Sean.
Have you fucked up the Patreon again?
I didn't fuck up the Patreon. Patreon fucked up the Patreon, all right? To be abundantly clear.
That nobody needs to know how long that took us. Nobody needs to know.
It's not our fault, man. It's not our fault.
No, Patreon changed things.
We tried a lot before making it work. Like all right.
Oh god, at least 6 minutes has passed.
Fucking
no,
hell.
Cut that out, Dylan. Nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to know.
As always, we would like to thank our bland bitch protagonists as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are going to launch their shoe straight up our asses. And on that list, we have Alex, Zombie Stomp 19, Soul Eater's Life. Zombie Stomp 91, my bad. Xanax, Yandere Neko. Yahir, Waishon, Humstv. Walk Me Home Gently, Way to Shell, Tyler Worley, Turtly Enough for the Turtle Club, Trenton Farrell, Travis J. Humphrey, Totally God, Tim Westy, The Susanator, The Big Bean, that one anime dude who's also a duck, Take Me Cheeks, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my favorite anime, Spicitus, that fellow who shall reign supreme after rewriting the phonetic system, Silent Secondary, Shoujo Addict who doesn't need help, just more manga to read and anime to watch, Sean's Hot Throbbing Gumdrop Buttons, Sean read this, okay!
Then it cuts off.
Yeah, it cuts off then.
Yeah,
Also,
cool.
I think they are primarily responsible for breaking our Patreon that we just spent 6 minutes fixing, so that's great. Sean, punish Rem and make him watch Excel World. School Days and Clandid for the Feels, Salty Pretzel, Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams, Remington Chase, Voice of the People, President of the Turtle Club, Chair of the Rooster Committee, and Daddy of Cross. Rem gave me depression. Please give me a cool and interesting anime-related pun name. Go, Sean.
We've been over this. You can't just ask for these things. You're a new superhero. Manga.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Look, man, you can't just ask for these things. Like, they gotta flow naturally or else they don't flow at all.
Pern the Merson fan. Oh boy, an ounce of serotonin, don't mind if I do. No waifu, no lifu. Nick Harvey. Makeka 7 Hierto. Mexican Gone Freaks. Maya says Itzy. Matthew Drum says Dylan's an angel. Matt02 Max. Lizzie Anthea. King Rich Rock. Casey Mosley. Cassidy. Just a Traveler. Jax. Jam Hands. I Remington and Macappa, and I love to steal everyone's butt balls. I wonder who will win in a game of White Swords between Sean and Rem. Your thoughts? I would obviously win. I beat Sean's ass at just about everything.
Which is unfortunate, but I can't disagree because I don't know.
I want Rem to ruin Darling in the Franks for me. I liked them before it was cool, boasts Misaka, proudly clutching the new album by her favorite band, Baby Penguin Afterglow. Really good, really good. Hunter Davies. Yep. Hey, Oogs, it's your fest. Be by. I want Rem to ruin Steins Gate for all of us. Yes, you know, I'm talking to you and I'm paying so you will hear it. Glenn Michael Dolan, Fuck of Love Fox and Boy. Farmer Weeb's bad pickup line of the week. Do you know what perjury is? Fantide, Extreme Cobra, Epic Amy, Elite Knight, drink milk to prevent wobbly bones, not a conspiracy. Dickite Mimimicin has always had 3 M's they've added, or did you add another one? Probably just always had it. Pikachu Interest, Pentafluorethyl, Trifluorophosphate, also known as FAP, and finally, Trans 1,4-bis for Parietal F. Crumb Sluts Bakery took magic pill to go back in time, now dough is just raw. Creed 13. Cotton Candy Out of Context, Shy 900, Cheese Monkeys, Celcelia Stover, it could just be Cecilia, but there's an extra L though, so it's definitely Celcelia. Cage in the House, Brockhard for Geodudes, Blood for the Blood God, Skulls for the Skull Throne, Big Blue Bear Boy, as your best friend, I know what your one docky is, and it is of Arachnera. As stated previously, I'm a proud member of the SOS Brigade and totally wasn't kidnapped and forced to join by Haruhi. Anime Addict Context Gone Wild XXX 18+, only listen if alone, delete your history. Elise Howard, AJ Tunnels, AJ Honey. And now we go to the Boy Wizard tier, where you get the task you avoided by writing a Patreon name. Chris, you get planning your fiance's B-day. And Sean, read this. Oh, don't mind if I do that sweet, sweet, silky frog ass juice. And now we go to the Boy Wizard tier, where everybody is going to be assigned a traditional Japanese pastime. So we start out with warning, you're 799 episodes away. You are going to get Ikebana. I will not define what any of these are. We all know, so therefore I don't need to describe it.
We all know, obviously. Yeah, you're all...
Vincent Calabrese, you get Shoto. Great Buttball of Despair, you get Kyoto. Stupid Sexy Nerd Gigante, you get Arcade Games. Shuffleboard is Totsu Sport, you get Hanami. Rat Visa the Finish, you get Origami. Please Watch Healer Girl, a cute slice of life about using music to heal people. Also Rem and Still Girl, you get Karaoke. My Apparate My Dog, you get Manga. Momo the Griff, you just get nature. Just all of nature, I guess.
What a weeby concept.
My Afro Ate My Dog. Wait, yeah. Fuck, I'm so bad at this. My Afro Ate My Dog, you get tea.
You've only been doing it for 3
years. I know.
Years,
you get tea ceremony. Momo the Griff, you get Sumo. Mike wants an Overlord review. You are going to get Taiko Drumming. Miguel DeLeon, you are going to get Anime. My Jawa says first 3 episodes Bakemonogatari is just 8 episodes. You are going to get... Let's all have the same fucking ones, dude. You get Making Lewds of Your Sister. Latinos eats death. Very popular Japanese pastime. Latinos eats death and anime for breakfast. You are going to get video games. Jacob Payne, you are going to get listening to anime out of context.
Everybody's favorite Japanese pastime.
Inuyasha is my favorite cryptid. I've already run out. I thought.
Yeah, I could tell.
I thought there'd be more.
The second you locked yourself into Japanese pastimes, I was like, dude, you should have just done normal pastimes. That would have been way more plentiful.
Oh, pretty fucked up to say Japanese pastimes aren't normal, Sean. All right.
That's not what I'm saying at all, you dummy.
All right. Hey, y'all want to join me for Whiskey Music at MTG? I'm a Red Blue Artifact Runner. You get bird watching. Dylan, when are you taking over? You get fishing. Crimson Reapers, just because of the scythes. You get casual murder. Beethoven 1201, you get stalking Dylan. Anime Girl, you are going to get playing Yu-Gi-Oh! All hours of the day. All Father's Curse Fact of the Week, Eggfest is eternal, Sean. Eggfest is here long. Too true, your pastime is Eggfest. Congratulations. Aaron Hegland, you are going to get staring at the wall all day long. Nothing else. 2 sec, Sean, I have to show you my Rule 34 of UE. It's my favorite of my many folders. You are going to get recording shitty podcasts. There we are. All right. That worked.
Man.
Fucking splendid.
Nicely done, lad.
What can I say? It truly is magnificent. No, I had a great idea for this next one, but I just need to find...
If it's possible.
Yeah. All right, then we move on to our inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier. Now, for this tier, what I really wanted to do was find Boy School Wars trading cards from the show and like assign each of those in some way, right? Would have been a fun little idea.
Right.
They're nowhere to be found online.
No, because it's a gag from a show that, while it's more popular than you thought, it's not.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no one has collected
like,
all of the Boy School Wars.
This isn't a Yu-Gi-Oh
cards.
scenario where a mangaka made a great idea for a card game and they turned it into an actual
I was hoping
card
at
game.
least.
Like, that's not
I was hoping
happening
someone
here.
would at least like log all of them somewhere, but unfortunately,
no.
So instead,
Okay.
because Boy School Wars is a fictional failed trading card game, everybody is going to get a different failed card game. And then Sean, as Joey Wheeler, will tell you why you really need to play it. I'm so sorry, everyone.
You should be. You should be. I am ashamed.
I had a
of
good
you.
idea, and it just did not.
It just didn't pan out.
Yeah. And then we spent fucking 6 minutes fucking around on the Patreon without making any progress.
We still got another part to record before you have to bounce.
It's awful. It's chaos. All right, but moving on. We start this off with Raphtalia my anime. Oh wait, Raphtalia my anime waifu will return in September. You get the Beyblade card game.
There's a Beyblade card game.
Joey Wheeler, why should they play the Beyblade card game?
You should play the Beyblade card game because cheaper than tops.
All right, next up we have Pizza Cotton Candy is my waifu. You get and actually like one that I've heard amazing things about, but is pretty dead. You get Android Netrunner.
Oh, set in the cyberpunk universe as well. So you're gonna get that because you really enjoyed CG Project's Red game, but wanted more. And you just wanted to feel a little extra disappointment.
Next up, we go to Magic Ice Ball, who's getting Spellfire, which, good God, it's a Dungeons and Dragons card game?
No, not even that. It's a clone. It's AD&D as a card.
Well, why should they play it?
Well, you should play it because it's easier than getting a group together for an actual campaign.
True. Then we go to Dylan Army General, please play Yandere Simulator. You are getting Marvel Battle Scenes, which is apparently a Brazilian card game about Marvel. I don't know what's going on.
Look, it's probably there's probably good reasons why these card games failed. You're gonna play this one because you can't afford Legends.
Yeah, there you go. Next up we got Demon Ray 13. You are gonna get Monsuno? I don't know, it looks weeby.
Oh man. Yeah, you're gonna get this one because quite frankly, Yu-Gi-Oh! Too mainstream.
It's just if you want to be
And Cardfight Vanguard, too niche. You gotta go more niche.
Yeah, even if you want to go real niche. Alright, then we have my dear old mom, who's getting Initial D?
What the fuck? Of all the IPs to get a card game? Yeah, you're gonna get Initial D because, A, like, if monsters and magic can have cards, why not cars? Car cards.
Yeah, you misheard card game and you just heard car game and got excited.
Yeah.
Next up we have Daddy Rem. Can I be your big titty harem waifu? I would definitely need to ask my girlfriend
Your
before
girlfriend about
starting
that.
a harem. That's something.
The thing is, knowing your girlfriend, she might say yes.
There's always a chance. There is a chance. And you are getting James Bond 007, the card game.
Oh no.
It looks so bad.
Oh man. You're gonna get this one because your copy of GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64 finally burnt out, and you want something close.
Then we have Charles C. Nussbaum. You are gonna get a game called Hyborian Gates. Has some wild artwork, let me say
Yeah,
that.
no. You're gonna get this one because you long for the weird art style of 80s romance novels.
But also, I do want to clarify, there's a ripped man and scantily clad women on one of the cards. But
and they're holding
yeah,
guns.
well, and the way they're holding guns is by the barrel as if they were like axes.
Which is amusing because in the guy's other hand, he is just holding a revolver normally.
I'm so confused.
I don't understand.
All right. Then we move on to Blood Cell, not the white one. You are gonna get SimCity, the card game.
Man, PCs are expensive, and everybody knows SimCity is a good time, so might as well.
And last but not least, going above and beyond, we have Dylan Hayden, who's gonna get Mortal Kombat card game, specifically card spelled with a K, like combat.
And the reason you're gonna play this one is because, you long for the days where card games were more violent. Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. The fact that they thought, hey, you know what would be a good card game? Mortal Kombat. That's a great idea. The fighting game
Yeah.
with action, blood, and guts? Yeah, let's turn them into cards.
Oh my god, I'm just looking at this page. Austin Powers collectible card game, but where's... I'm not gonna... Oh,
Terminator card game. Baseball cards. That's hilarious.
WWE card games, Harry Potter.
Oh, I had some of the Harry Potter and Lord of the Ring cards.
There really was just a time where they were like, every
Let's turn
IP
everything into a card
needs
game.
a card.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh's big. Oh, I had a lot of Neopets card game cards. I had so
same,
many.
Same.
No one ever played that. I don't think anybody has ever played the Neopets card game.
But we wanted them because they had cute Neopets on
Yeah,
them.
they were Neopets, man. How could you resist? Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out, whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, then tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutacontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Imagine one of those horny mouse pads.
Yes.
Did you come?
Yes. Am I a little bitch?
Hey, wait a minute. And so he tastes the water and he's like, that's not piss at all.
My childhood JRPGs had anything to do with my current sexuality.
How big was it? I didn't think it was notable enough for you to tell me, but man, that is a huge giant dick. I'm skeptical. A picture? Well, send it my way. Man, Charizard's form when he was laying that pipe. Oh, baby. You know, I think you need to go to the hospital. Yeah. After one like that, I mean, borderline inhuman, Sean. That's a lot of dead cheese. Yeah, now the blockage is out. I see that. I do see that. That must have... You must have filled up everything in there, because that... Did you come? Oh, that's gonna be rough on Mr. Mime. Oh, good God. Yeah, no, someone will need to be called. I know. Listen, I'm not an expert, but I wouldn't try to handle it myself. It's just too much. Yeah, you need a professional. Also, once again, to reiterate, go to the hospital. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be best.